There is a question that haunts the spiritually awakened, a question whispered in the quiet hours of longing, a question that echoes through the unfinished chapters of a soul. Why does the twin flame feel impossible to replace? Why can two people who barely spoke, barely touched, barely experienced a full life together become the one connection that no one else in the world can match? The answer is brutal, beautiful, and ancient. It is not romance. It is not fantasy. It is not delusion or obsession. It is recognition, a recognition older than memory, older than the body, older than the life you're living now. A recognition that has nothing to do with time and everything to do with the soul. When two people share the same spiritual frequency, the same psychic blueprint, the same unconscious wounds, the same hidden potential, the same shadow, the same fire, they do not meet the way ordinary people meet. They collide. The spiritually awakened know this collision intimately. It does not feel like falling in love. It feels like being remembered. It feels like seeing yourself in someone else's eyes, with a clarity that terrifies your ego and awakens your spirit. And once you are seen at that depth, you can never return to the emotional surface. This is why twin flames don't find happiness with someone else, because happiness is no longer defined by external compatibility or convenience. Happiness becomes something far more dangerous, the alignment of the soul with its own truth. And once the soul has tasted that truth, it refuses to settle for illusion. Carl Jung wrote that the greatest longing of the human psyche is not unity with another person, but unity with the lost parts of itself. The twin flame is the embodiment of that longing, not a lover, a mirror that reflects everything you are and everything you are not yet, a mirror that reflects the light you hide and the shadow you deny, a mirror that awakens the self in a way that no ordinary relationship can survive. That is why other relationships feel different, not wrong, not bad, just incomplete, just lacking the gravitational pull of the one soul that knows your blueprint. It's not about preference, it's about resonance. You can build a life with someone else. You can share comfort, stability, routine, affection, but deep inside, the awakened soul knows that comfort is not fulfillment and routine is not destiny. There is a difference between someone who loves your personality and someone who sees your essence, between someone who fits into your life and someone who awakens your life, between someone you like and someone who redefines your entire existence. Twin flames do not ruin you for love. They ruin you for anything less than truth, because the twin flame is not a partner. They are a psychological phenomenon, a spiritual catalyst, a divine disruption, a breaking open of the self you learn to pretend to be. They are your unconscious mind, speaking through another human being. And this is why the connection feels supernatural, because it is not happening at the level of the ego, but at the level of the soul. This is why the pull never ends. This is why the memory never fades. This is why their absence feels like an unhealed wound rather than a breakup. This is why every other connection feels quiet compared to the earthquake you felt with them. You are not longing for a person. You are longing for the parts of yourself that only that person awakened. And until you integrate those parts, your soul will not settle. It will not rest. It will not numb itself with ordinary love, because the twin flame is not here to complete you. They are here to reveal you. And that revelation rewires everything. Your desires, your standards, your boundaries, your emotional capacity, your intuition, your identity, your destiny. Once you wake up to the truth of who you are, through the mirror of your twin flame, Your soul becomes allergic to anyone who resonates at a lower frequency. You do not reject them. Your soul rejects them. Your body rejects them. Your intuition rejects them. Your destiny rejects them. Not out of cruelty, but out of incompatibility. Because twin flames aren't looking for love. They're looking for themselves inside someone else. Not as possession, not as completion, but as recognition. That is why no one else feels right. That is why no one else touches your spirit the same way. That is why no one else fits the architecture of your soul. That is why no one else feels like home. You can't replace what was never external. You can't forget what awakened you. You can't lose what is woven into your being. You can't love another in the same way. You love the one who mirrors your origin. And the deeper you awaken, the clearer this truth becomes. Twin flames don't fail with others because others are lacking. Twin flames fail with others because the twin flame experience changes the definition of connection itself. It changes what fulfillment means. It changes what intimacy means. It changes what partnership means. It changes what truth means. It changes what you are willing to accept and what you refuse to entertain ever again. Once your soul has seen itself, it cannot unsee. Once your heart has recognized itself, it cannot forget. Once your spirit has awakened, it cannot go back to sleep. That is why twin flames cannot be happy with another person, because the soul does not choose based on comfort. The soul chooses based on truth, and truth, once awakened, never accepts a substitute. The truth is this: twin flames aren't just two people who loved each other deeply. They are two people whose souls recognized each other instantly and then awakened on a level that the human psyche is rarely prepared to handle. Most relationships operate on the surface: personality, compatibility, habits, wants, likes, preferences. But the twin flame connection bypasses the surface and dives into the unconscious. It goes straight to your hidden wounds, straight to your unhealed childhood, straight to your shadow, straight to the parts of yourself you've buried beneath years of survival and ego. This is why the connection burns. This is why it feels dangerous. This is why it feels like both heaven and catastrophe. Because the twin flame doesn't fall in love with your persona. They fall in love with your soul. And most people have never even met their own soul. So when someone comes along who sees you without trying, who understands you without explanation, who mirrors your deepest truth with terrifying accuracy, it destabilizes everything you thought you were. This is why the twin flame is unforgettable. They awaken you to yourself, and nothing is more irreversible than self-recognition. Carl Jung said the meeting with the self is always a defeat for the ego. And this is why twin flames cannot be replaced. They defeat your ego, they dismantle your illusions, they crack open your identity, they expose your soul, and force you to confront what you truly are beneath everything you pretend to be. No other person can do that. No other connection dares to. But here is the deeper truth, the one that most people fear facing. Twin flames are not here to give you comfort. Twin flames are here to give you evolution. And evolution rarely feels like happiness. It feels like rebirth. It feels like fire. It feels like collapse. It feels like awakening so sudden that the rest of your life falls out of its old alignment. Every relationship you had before them feels like a rehearsal. Every relationship you try to have after them feels like a compromise. Not because those people are wrong, but because the twin flame shattered the shell that allowed you to settle. You cannot unknow your depth. You cannot unfeel the intensity. You cannot unsee the mirror. You cannot untaste the truth. The soul refuses to downgrade. This is what people misunderstand. This is what outsiders judge. This is what friends and family cannot comprehend. They think the twin flame is an attachment. They think it's an obsession. They think it's idealization or fantasy. It isn't. It's recognition. It's remembrance. It's resonance at the level of origin. And origin cannot be replaced with convenience. This is why the spiritually awakened feel out of place with people who have not awakened yet. Not because they are unloving, but because their depth now operates at a different frequency. You can sit across from someone else, you can laugh, you can talk, you can share a moment, you can even share intimacy. But it all feels like a silhouette, a shadow of what your soul knows connection can be. Because once you have experienced the wildfire of soul recognition, the gentle warmth of surface connection cannot fill you. Your soul wants depth, not distraction, truth, not tolerance, fusion, not familiarity, expansion, not comfort. And this is a paradox that spiritually awakened people live inside. They can find peace with someone else, but they cannot find fulfillment. They can find harmony, but not destiny. They can find companionship, but not soul reflection. They can find love, but not recognition. Because only the twin flame reflects your own consciousness back to you, raw, unfiltered, unedited, and undeniable. This reflection is not romantic, it is transformative. It forces you to evolve. It forces you to face yourself. It forces you to meet the self, beyond the egoic structures you once relied on. This is why Jung called relationships psychological laboratories. But the twin flame is not a laboratory. The twin flame is an explosion. And once the explosion happens, you spend the rest of your life building a new version of yourself from the ashes of your former identity. This new self is sharper, deeper, more conscious, more intuitive, more resilient, more awakened, more alive. But it comes with a cost. The inability to settle for anything that is not soul aligned. Your standards change. Your desires change. Your patterns change. Your emotional tolerance changes. Your spiritual compass changes. You stop wanting partnership that feels easy. You start wanting partnership that feels true. You stop wanting superficial compatibility. You start wanting spiritual resonance. You stop wanting someone who fills your time. You start wanting someone who fills your spirit. And until the soul finds that resonance again, in the twin flame or in someone who matches the same depth, every other connection feels muted. Not wrong, not empty, just muted. It is the ache of knowing what it feels like to be seen completely and then returning to relationships that only see the surface. It's not a lack of capacity to love another person. It's the unwillingness of the soul to abandon truth for comfort. And this is the truth the awakened cannot escape. Twin flames aren't unforgettable because they are perfect. They are unforgettable because they awaken you. And once awakened, you will not be happy with anything less than a connection that meets you at the level you were reborn into. The real reason twin flames cannot be happy with another person is because the connection rewires the psyche at its deepest level. It rearranges the emotional body. It reconfigures the energetic field. It restructures the spiritual architecture of your identity. You do not fall in love with your twin flame. You ignite, you erupt, you expand, you awaken. This is not chemistry. This is alchemy. And alchemy doesn't leave anything untouched. Most people build relationships on what they know about themselves, their preferences, their patterns, their past, their wounds, their roles. But twin flames connect at a level that exposes everything you don't know, everything that was hidden, everything buried, everything unlived, unfaced, unhealed. It is the confrontation with the unconscious. Jung says that when the unconscious rises, it does so with the force of fate. The twin flame is exactly that, a living, breathing force of fate. And once you've encountered fate, you cannot be satisfied with coincidence. This is why no other relationship feels right, not because they're inadequate, but because they don't reach the place inside you that the twin flame awakened. They don't hit the soul. They don't hit the shadow. They don't hit the destiny. They don't hit the memory. Your spirit has of itself. And deep down, you know it. This is what the awakened won't admit out loud, but feel in every beat of their chest. Anything less than a soul-level connection feels like spiritual starvation. It fills the calendar, but empties the soul. It occupies the mind, but leaves the spirit untouched. It calms the loneliness, but never quiets the longing. Not the longing for a person, the longing for your own wholeness. The twin flame is not a romantic partner. They are the embodiment of the part of you that you have not fully integrated yet. This is why the twin flame pulls you so violently, not because of desire, but because of destiny. And here's the paradox. You do not want a twin flame because you cannot live without them. You want the twin flame because they are woven into the pattern of who you are becoming. Every other person you meet is a visitor in your life. The twin flame is the architect of your evolution, not by choice, by impact. Their presence transforms you. Their absence transforms you. Their return transforms you. Their distance transforms you. There is no moment with them that does not shape something deeper inside you. So when you try to move on, when you try to love someone new, when you try to build a life that feels normal, something inside you remains untouched. Your soul is awake, and an awake soul cannot pretend to sleep. The spiritually awakened often describe it like this: I care for the person I'm with, but I don't feel alive with them. I can love them, but I can't dissolve into the love. I can connect with them, but I can't merge. Because merging requires mirror-level resonance, and resonance requires recognition. And recognition only happens when two souls share the same frequency of origin. Anything less feels like static. You can force compatibility. You can fake chemistry. You can imitate affection. You can perform partnership. You can play the roles society praises. But you cannot trick the soul. The soul knows its mirror. The soul knows its counterpart. The soul knows the one who carries the flame that awakens its own. And the soul refuses to settle. This is not stubbornness. This is spiritual mechanics. The twin flame changes your energetic blueprint in a way that other relationships cannot touch. It's not that others are lacking. It's that they're tuned to a different frequency. You can dance to their rhythm, but you will always hear the missing beat. You can love them gently, but you will always feel the power missing. You can build something stable, but you will always feel the fire absent. This is the tragedy and the gift of the twin flame path. You rise beyond ordinary love, and therefore cannot return to it. Other people can touch your heart, but never your soul. They can connect with your life, but never your destiny. They can love your personality, but never your essence. They can walk beside you, but not inside you. And here is where the deepest truth unfolds, the one only the awakened can understand. You don't fail with others. You outgrow them, not out of arrogance, but out of evolution. Because once your soul has seen itself in another being, any connection that does not reflect that same depth will feel incomplete. You can choose them, but you cannot expand with them. You can love them, but you cannot awaken with them. You can grow individually, but you cannot grow together. You can build structure, but not destiny. Awakening is not a preference. It is a transformation, and transformation always demands alignment. This is why twin flames cannot be happy with another person. The soul refuses to settle for a life that does not match the person it became. The moment it met its mirror, nothing else satisfies. Nothing else reaches you. Nothing else illuminates you. Nothing else dissolves you. Nothing else challenges you. Nothing else expands you. Because nothing else is you, there is a moment, a brutal, crystalline moment, when the spiritually awakened truly realize why they cannot be happy with another person. Because the twin flame connection did not just affect your heart, it rewired your inner world. It altered the way you feel. It altered the way you love. It altered the way you perceive. It altered the way you interpret reality. It altered the way your intuition speaks. It altered the way your consciousness operates. The twin flame doesn't awaken you to them. They awaken you to yourself. And once you have met yourself at that depth, you cannot pretend to be the person you were before. You cannot go back to shallow conversations. You cannot go back to lukewarm partnership. You cannot go back to emotional half-light. You cannot go back to relationships built from habit. You cannot go back to connection without consciousness. You cannot go back to love without awakening. People wonder why twin flames rarely find satisfaction in new relationships. It's because the twin flame connection forces you to love from the level of the soul, and most people only know how to love from the level of the ego. The ego loves what feels safe. The soul loves what feels true. The ego chooses comfort. The soul chooses transformation. The ego seeks validation. The soul seeks evolution. The ego wants to be understood. The soul wants to be remembered. You can build a comfortable life with someone else, but comfort is the opposite of awakening. The twin flame is not a comfort. They are a catalyst, a mirror, a storm, a revelation, a remembering. And when a soul has remembered itself, it refuses to forget. This is why no matter how much you try to settle into a new relationship, something inside you remains restless. Not because the new person is inadequate, but because they cannot reflect the part of you that only the twin flame awakened. They cannot mirror the consciousness that arose through the twin flame's impact. They cannot speak to your soul because they do not carry your frequency. They cannot activate your evolution because they do not touch your origin. This is what people misunderstand. You do not compare new partners to your twin flame because the twin flame was better. I'm clear. You compare them because the twin flame awakened a version of you that no one else seems able to reach. You became someone else because of them, someone deeper, someone more aware, someone more intuitive, someone more aligned, someone more whole, someone more conscious. And so naturally, you seek someone who can meet that version of you. But most people aren't ready for that version. They want the older you, the one who didn't see so clearly, feel so deeply, or know so profoundly. They want the version of you that needed validation, that settled for surface level proximity, that mistook comfort for compatibility. But that version is gone. The twin flame killed it, not maliciously, but through revelation. They revealed your capacity. And once your capacity is revealed, you cannot unsee the limitlessness of your heart. This is why people who have awakened through a twin flame experience a kind of spiritual loneliness, even when standing beside someone new, because the new person touches your life, but the twin flame touched your soul. And it is precisely the soul that refuses to replace what cannot be replaced. Here is the truth the awakened learn the hard way. You can move on, but your soul never will. Not because you are stuck, not because you are broken, not because you are attached, but because the twin flame was not a chapter, they were a portal that opened you to your own depths, a portal that showed you what love feels like when it is unrestricted, unfiltered, and unbound by ego, a portal that revealed the architecture of your destiny. You can walk through other doors, but the portal remains glowing behind you. the memory of what your soul recognized, but your mind could not fully comprehend. This is why the spiritually awakened cannot be satisfied with normal love, because normal love is built on compromise. Twin flame love is built on truth. Normal love seeks harmony. Twin flame love seeks alignment. Normal love stays safe. Twin flame love burns. Normal love is comfortable. Twin flame love is transformative. Normal love is chosen. Twin flame love is remembered. And this remembrance is the exact reason you struggle to feel complete with anyone else. You are no longer looking for a partner. You are looking for a mirror, not a reflection of your face, a reflection of your consciousness. This is why the deeper the awakening, the harder it becomes to attach to someone new. Your soul is not being stubborn. It is being honest. It is telling you, I know what I am capable of. I know the depth I can reach. I know the fire I can feel. I know the truth I have tasted. And I will not accept anything less. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are not stuck in the past. You are awakened, and awakened souls are incapable of pretending that ordinary love is enough, because it isn't. Not after what you've seen, not after what you felt, not after what you've become. You don't want a person. You want the part of yourself that only the twin flame ever brought to life. And until you find a connection that awakens you the same way, you will always feel that quiet ache, not for them, for you. And so you arrive at the truth that no one warns you about, the truth that every spiritually awakened soul eventually faces. In the quiet, private chambers of their own heart, twin flames are not unforgettable because they stayed. They are unforgettable because they awakened something in you that no one else ever touched. They lit a fire in your soul that cannot be extinguished by time, distance, or new relationships. They stirred the parts of you you didn't know existed. They brought to the surface what you never dared to feel. They unraveled you, and in unraveling you, they revealed you. Every connection after them feels different, not because others lack value, but because others do not vibrate at the frequency of your becoming. You have become too conscious for unconscious love, too deep for shallow affection, too awakened for connections built on convenience, too alive to pretend that a fireless bond can warm you. You have evolved past the version of yourself that could settle for almost enough or halfway. The twin flame showed you what it feels like to stand awake inside your own soul. And now the world expects you to fit back into the old mold, but you can't. And that is not failure. That is transformation. Awakening is a threshold. Once crossed, you can never return. You can love others. You can care for them. You can build with them. You can grow beside them, but you cannot merge with them. In the same way you merged with the one who opened your psyche like a doorway to your true self. Because merging is not physical, it is spiritual, it is energetic, it is existential. It is the dissolving of boundaries between two consciousnesses that recognize each other as one. And once you experience that recognition, that soul-level resonance, every other connection feels like a room without oxygen. It is not the people that are lacking. It is the depth. It is not the relationships that are wrong. It is the frequency. It is not you being unable to move on. It is your soul refusing to betray itself by descending into what no longer matches its evolution. You are not cursed by the twin flame. You are refined by them. They did not ruin you. They revealed you. They did not leave your life empty. They left your consciousness expanded. They did not break your ability to love. They broke your ability to love unconsciously. And that is why the awakened soul cannot be fully happy with someone who only meets the surface. You have seen your depths. You have touched your shadow. You have tasted your truth. You have met the version of yourself that lives beyond the ego's illusion. Once the soul rises, it does not lower itself. Once the heart expands, it does not shrink. Once consciousness awakens, it does not sleep again. This is the real reason twin flames cannot be happy with another person. You are no longer searching for someone who completes you. You are searching for the reflection of who you have become. If that reflection returns in the twin flame, you merge. If it appears in another awakened soul, you rise together. And if it appears in no one, you walk alone, but never lonely, because you walk in truth. The twin flame's purpose was not to be your destination. It was to awaken the self that would one day choose its destiny consciously. They awakened you, and now you choose alignment over attachment, truth over nostalgia, depth over familiarity, consciousness over comfort, destiny over desire. You no longer chase the twin flame. You no longer chase the past. You no longer chase the echo of old recognition. You have become the flame itself, a soul awakened, sovereign, shining with a fire that was once reflected back to you through someone else's eyes. And now that the fire is yours, the world cannot offer you anything less than the truth you carry within you. This is the freedom. This is the completion. This is the quiet, fierce victory. At the end of the twin flame journey, you no longer need the one who awakened you to feel awake. You walk forward, not longing, not aching, not searching, but illuminated, because the love you were once seeking in another soul now burns undeniably inside your own. And so, in the stillness of your own becoming, you finally understand the truth that the unawakened world is not ready to hear. Twin flames were never meant to give you a lifelong partner. They were meant to give you yourself. They entered your life not as a promise, but as a prophecy, a spiritual event disguised as a person, a catalyst cloaked in human form, a collision that shook your soul awake in a way that nothing else ever could. And now, after everything, after the burning, after the separation, after the transformation, after the rebirth, you discover the one realization that ties the entire journey together. You were never meant to be happy with another person, Eintus. You were meant to be whole within yourself, because once you are whole, life does not send you someone to complete you. Life sends you someone who matches you, someone who stands beside you without taking from you, someone who sees you without needing to own you, someone who is not a mirror, but an equal flame. This is the destiny of an awakened soul, not attachment, not reunion through suffering, not a lifelong search for the missing half, but wholeness. And from wholeness, a different kind of love is born. A love without desperation, without illusion, without projection, without fear. A love that does not seek to merge, but to expand. A love that does not swallow you, but strengthens you. A love that does not unsettle your spirit, but elevates it. This is the gift hidden behind the pain. Only through the fire of the twin flame could you rise into the version of yourself, capable of receiving real, conscious love. The twin flame taught you intensity. Life will teach you peace. The twin flame taught you destiny. Life will teach you choice. The twin flame taught you awakening. Life will teach you embodiment. And it is in this embodiment that you find the final freedom. You are no longer waiting for them. You are no longer haunted by them. You are no longer defined by them. You are no longer shattered by them. You have integrated the lesson. You have absorbed the fire. You have become the person that the twin flame was meant to awaken. And now, finally, you can breathe again. Not shallow, not trembling, not searching, but fully. The longing dissolves. The ache quiets. The old wound closes. The timeline collapses. The soul releases its grip on what once felt like destiny, because destiny fulfilled does not cling to the past. It walks forward, and so do you. You walk into a life that no longer feels incomplete. You walk into relationships that no longer feel like placeholders. You walk into a future that no longer feels like a waiting room. You walk with a flame inside you now, not behind you, not in another person, not in a memory, in you. And in that moment, in that final quiet, final powerful, final awakened moment, you realize you never lost your twin flame. You gained the self you were always meant to become. And the journey ends not in reunion, not in obsession, not in longing, but in sovereignty, in truth, in wholeness, in light, in the one place where all twin flame paths ultimately lead, back to yourself.